Good evening, universe. Good evening. What the fuck am I saying good evening for? It's 6:25 in the morning. Oh no, I was saying hello in Count Chocula. Good evening. Alright. So, sometimes I gotta throw a joke out for the 8-year-olds. Okay, no 8-year-old would even get that joke. Well, how about this? How about we agree that's the last food conversation I have today about items from my childhood, the 70s, whatever. We will just leave that whole treasure box of fun from yesterday in yesterday and move on. Sound good? Sound good evening? That's what I thought. Let's not even pause. Let's just get a little roll going here about yesterday's performance is frankly a prime example of having 4 corners of a square that I thought I was going in to discuss in some sort of, well, we'll go that way, then we'll go that way, we'll go that way, we'll go that way, and then we'll be back where we started, and that'll make sense. Even if we do a diagonal in here that I just kind of fuck around and accidentally get lost in the middle, we can still find our way all the way back to one of these corners and get home. And then just none of that makes the recording. Zero. None of it. And you think, what the fuck did I talk about? Right? Yeah. And I've done that for 100 seconds with you now, so that's not something you're unfamiliar with. It's just, it makes me think, well, do I try again? Do I piggyback off what yesterday's momentum killing mound hill of mediocrity was making for itself? Or do we just cut ties and maybe go see a different double feature at the drive-in this weekend, huh? Maybe we don't have to go see the same old Steven Spielberg movies. Wait, why are my lights going out? Pause. Powerful unpause, because we did lose power. Now that doesn't mean we have to stop recording. Come on. Thanks to how much battery we got here. 88%. Boy, we could go a couple hours. Even more if we want to do. But today I'm going to try to be concise. Well, am I? No. Well, I'm not walking into this without the intention of fully drilling down. For instance, how can you tell that the elections are compromised? Okay. Well, for one, you can go have it proven to you that the software, actually, that's not the important part. The firmware of the structural systems that build the election software platforms to allow us to do touchscreen voting and all that rigmarole. Well, that firmware is fucking porous in terms of any level of security that even I, with no real understanding of computer programming, could compromise. It is intentional in every way. And intentional because anybody who is shown these vulnerabilities in their system and is serious about taking election integrity anywhere other than straight down the shitter would say, well, yep, not only we got to fix that, we got to explain how we did it so everyone understands that it been done fixed. But instead of any conversation like that coming from anybody, even from a redneck, especially from a redneck, they're the ones who should normally figure this shit out, right? Anyhow, redneck resource allocations are low, as are all resource allocations in America these days. So don't blame them for not always sniffing out the dirty turd that's floating around in the election software. But it sits there just waiting to be activated by anybody with a USB stick, by anybody with a Wi-Fi connection, by anybody with the ability to plug in a LAN connection, by anybody with the ability to use any other source of portable media, like a hard drive. It is... So you can do that, right? You can go find that out. And it's very available, including testimonies in front of Congress, including journalistic investigations of the true investigation kind, including the post-election analysis that proves the elections were fraudulent the entire time they were occurring. There's all kinds of ways to go find out that the elections are not viable. They have gotten only less viable the more they've gotten turned over to electronic tabulation. All of this is correctable in a simple 2 or 3 month initiative by anybody with a brain. But the people who are in power are put there because they get elected. The people who are in charge of elections got there by being elected, so they like the system. It's everybody else that's fucked. I think now we can pause. So, unpause. Man, oh man, did I use too much garlic in my breakfast. But that's okay, because I like a garlic. I even like garlic burps. I even like aggressive garlic burps. I just don't like them coming at me. I don't mind dispensing them, especially alone in my bedroom. But knowing that it's better I saved those for private moments so I could just describe them instead of directly share them, back I am, much to your chagrin. Speaking of your chagrin, another thing that just lets you know that people who are deciding the next round of leadership are already set in the system that decision will get enacted is how little panic there is. And admittedly, I say this the week that there might be a slight uptick in concern. But how little panic there is in the vacuous potential of any Joe Biden public appearance. The man is too old to persist in a job with the delicacy of concerns across the globe that the American presidency contains. He is not mentally fit for the job. And all you have to do is see him in public more than twice, and you see what I mean. This is not a statement of, well, let's just take him out back and shoot him. I mean, it isn't one yet, nor should it become one. That's comedy. Bad comedy, I admit, but that was comedy. Okay, Mr. Biden is the kind of committed civil servant that deserves to have his flag folded up in some sort of triangular shape and handed to him as he gently escorts himself into the bleachers to watch the rest of the show from afar, like most people in their mid-80s do. Now, okay, yeah, Donald Trump's 2 years younger or some other ludicrous binary choice of dumb versus dumber. Right, I know. And that's not the whole reason Joe gotta go. But there's no comparison of who's more mentally quick. And there's only one loser in this current cast of candidates, including all the others. And it's clearly Joe Biden. So, if that's too obvious for YouTube to censor, well then you have to figure every single Democratic mover and shaker is 1,000% aware that Biden's one major gaffe away from dissolving his own potential candidacy. And given that no one has control over whether or not that gaffe is coming. It's just going to sit there till the election either activated or waiting to happen. Well, they're awfully fucking cool. Like, there's just no panic, no real stress, no, well, what the fuck are we going to do if he trips down another stair flight or calls another 20-year dead leader the person he had dinner with last night? What other ridiculous statements can he make that are just so false? We have to claim that he's inventing fantasy just for the thread of creative energy it presents? He's a storyteller. He likes to get loose with his facts. Let him go. I mean, he's in his 80s. What do you think you're going to do in your 80s, you old slob? Well, I'm going to pause and go get myself a napkin or something to wipe up the spit all over my lip. Okay, I didn't use a napkin. I used my sleeve. But, hey, old people get away with shit. You know what I mean? You probably don't. But as I'm turning 55 here in less than a month, boy, am I starting to know what I mean. Getting old makes people around you cautious. Like, you're breakable. Or you're, the look, honestly, is you're from another time. They just start to look at you with pity. Pathetic pity. And, you know, do you want some help with the door? Pause. Which is why this next part is not... Oh, God, I'm so derailed already. What were the 4 corners I was trying to get to last time? Oh, well, this one isn't one of them. Because one of the things about getting back in shape is I'm getting hit on by younger and younger women. And last night, a 23-year-old poet tried to convince me that our Venn diagrams had considerable overlap that they didn't. And I just was thinking, I know that the 21st century has basically been a complete setback for American male identity. But the women are just lost. Not lost. They have talked themselves into a position of thinking the options are extremely limited, if not fucking barren. And when I say options, I mean like for dudes. Pause. Pause. And this is not to be heteronormative or anything that is exclusionary. This is to talk about the stuff that I go through because this is heterosexual John's experiences. Have you not read the cover to the magazine? I mean, yeah, I know it didn't rhyme, so that's why I went with, it's all my fault. Pause. Unpause. Okay, wait, but I was talking about 23. 23. Could she be my grandkid? How old would that be? 18, well, 16, 32, 23. Yes. No. Well, okay. If somebody's getting busy at 15, actually, twice. I mean, it could happen, right? Grandchild. And then her 33-year-old friend, who I have to admit, I can't pretend to go out and meet women without letting the entire decade of the 30s exist as potential, because almost every woman I meet out is 30-something. Mostly because I quit going to clubs, so nobody's 18 or 20. Except last night. And even as this woman is trying to make conversation with me, and I mean, she's intelligent and has a wide use of vocabulary, but is 23. Like, has nothing of real substance to say. All hope, ambition, and the gentle decay of one go-round of getting knocked down in life experiences. By the time you're 55, there's just nothing in common at all anymore. And I don't have a very graceful way of exiting that situation. Or at least I didn't have one last night. So, not that I didn't ingratiate the situation with the best I could offer. But why are you hitting on me? It would be just as absurd as me hitting on you. It was the kind of, I don't know. It was unexpectedly persistent for somebody who seemed a little more aware of life's offerings than was being advertised. So the long way of saying that is, I have no idea where you meet women who are aged 40-something, 50-something, or anything else, but 30-something, Denver, Colorado. Just go anywhere. Talk to any woman, and she'll be 30-something. So far, it's been 18 months, and I'm 100% on that. Pause. Unpause. Until last night. 20-fucking-3. Michael Jordan. I mean, Michael Jordan? Not even in Michael Jordan time. Well, wait, what are we talking about here? I don't even know. And here's a pet nuisance I'm developing in the last probably 7 months, is how I'll be engaged in a conversation of some minor but at least maintainable interest level with somebody, and then somebody else will just pretend that conversation is not happening and totally take your attention away from, how do I want to put this? People are willing to make it all about them, I guess. Me included. What am I even talking about? It's the me century, right? Welcome to the 21st century where, I'm sorry, what are you even doing here? I thought it was all about me. Unflinchingly unpaused. Wait, am I not flinching? No, I'm probably flinching at this part. Well, so if you see someone like Biden have this team of people around him all think, well, yeah, all we got to do is make sure that we keep the other idiot in the fucking race. As long as he's in the race and it's our guy and him, and then, well, he'll probably do something stupid enough in August or September to cause the election to go to our guy anyway. And if that doesn't happen, well, we might know some people that can invite that to happen. And if that can't be arranged, well, yeah, we own the fucking voting machines. What do you want us to do? Let him win? Yeah. Well, I mean, we might, because no, we're gonna rig it for our guy, like we always do. What the fuck's wrong with you, man? Of course we're gonna rig it for our guy. We just got to make sure that if we keep nutty against almost nuttier, or the nuttiest you've ever seen against the oldest you've ever seen, or barely mentally fit against mentally unfit, or whatever the comparison of candidates comes down to here. It just needs to be believable enough in the American public that our guy could have pulled off a last 10, 12, 14-day streak of upswing? How about upswing in overall voter confidence to eke out a narrow victory? That's the script, buddy. Did you not read it when we sent it out to you 4 years ago? Fucking A, man. Why are you making us go through all this shit again? Didn't you go to the meeting in Cheyenne Mountain? Oh. Well, then I guess now's a good time to keep our mouths shut, right? Pause. Unpause. And here's another thing. Bartender banter has gotten dumb. And okay, maybe I'm just overly sensitive about what qualifies as good or dumb bartender banter. But my impression of my local service people is they are well-intended, but there is no creative energy in cultivating the customer experience whatsoever. They are jugglers looking for someone to put tips in a jar, which is fine if you can juggle, right? Nah, that's not fun. Juggling sucks. Seriously, what happened to the art of creative conversation just on the fly? Why is this so challenging? Why has this skill deteriorated? Why are there more head down, afraid to talk people now, just setting an example that eventually will dissolve playful banter entirely? People will just text each other, "What's up?" "Not much. Sitting next to you is pretty cool. What's up with you?" "Not a lot. I think I might even go pee, but if I don't, I was going to maybe." "Well, what are you thinking? You want to eat?" I hate myself for these 4 minutes that have just occurred, since they just ended with that moronic conversation in my head with myself, with my dumber self, at a restaurant that looked a lot like an Azar's Big Boy. Oh, I said I wouldn't talk about food from the 70s. Oh, my fault. Pause. On pause. So, the fix is in when the people who should be panicking are showing no concern whatsoever. Why panic, man? All you got to do is throw some voltage currents one way or another across a mainframe motherboard, and bam, Biden 150, 149, just like he always does. Next. All right. Okay, let's go to money then. If we're not going to talk about rigged elections, let's talk about rigged finance. If in our 1,000-person town, you finally figure out how to coin up some zinc that you stole from the Egyptians, and you put it into circulation to pay the people to pick up the sewage, and to reward the people who figured out all the irrigation and canal systems and all those aqueducts and all that. Oh, those were here when we got here? The 40-foot tall ones? We didn't build those? Shit, man. Well, I guess we don't have to pay them, so a little more money in the treasury. Alrighty then. Next, we're going to have to get some food storage ideas going, and maybe even some education at some point. I mean, no rush on the education, but the food storage, yeah, that we'd like to see expedited if you could. Okay, so you get enough interests of the common good that the coin starts to become a currency of all transaction. It allows the emergence of the cake decorator to become a viable enough niche opportunity for just when you need a cake decorated every 88 years of your life. Well, they're there to fulfill that purpose. That's how money expands the possibility of what fulfillment can look like. Instead of it all being about storing the grain, producing the grain, harvesting the grain, cooking the grain, prepping the grain, cooking the grain, cooking the grain again. What do we do after that? Do we eat it yet? When do we get to eat? The specialization of society allows for the thinky thoughts to get pursued. And one of the signs of a true civilized society is how much leisure time gets devoted to aspirations of non-consequence. And in a perfect society, of course, any aspirations of non-consequence can become aspirations fulfilled, so long as someone is driving them from a real purpose from within. But when it turns into something like a profit motive, well then, all this money shenanigan turns into real shenanigans. Like $5.99 for a box of fucking ding-dongs. A box of ding-dongs. I mean, I'll get over this someday. This isn't even about the 70s. This is yesterday, 2 days ago, 4 days ago now. Box of ding dongs, $5.99. And you got to pay tax. Unless you're Amish or something. I don't know. Who doesn't pay tax now? But the point is, we are living in the volatility of what financial control looks like when applied against. How's that home buying thing going? Yeah, I know a lot of new home. Oh, no. Who's going to go into the market right now and buy a home? Well, yeah, Chinese development companies and shell corporations that are gobbling up all the rentals and then charging exorbitant rates to people who, well, I lived in this house for 15 years. The rent was $1,300 last month, and now you want $2,700? Fuck. Pause. Unpause. So I'm just saying, it's not just food that's doubled. Everything is skyrocketing into hyperinflation. Recognize the signs as they are happening around you and prepare at least a contingency plan for the possibility that you're in the throes of an economic downturn forever. Not to be a downer, I mean, just saying, even me, a guy who does not have long-term goals whatsoever. I just hope to get through the next 15 minutes of this recording without fucking blowing it all apart. And then, of course, I should be looking at some contingency plans in case the entire economic platform just dissolves from underneath all of us. Just like you should be. It's just practical. Plus, it's a nice day. It's a good day for it. Pause. Unemployed unpause. Okay, that's a downer of an unpause, I agree. But I am unemployed. And a lot of people are currently not working that want to work. I think at least one of us, right here, this one. But the other thing about losing the free press to what is essentially state-controlled media is you don't get numbers in data reports that are of value. You get narratives that support an outlook that is critical to the current power structure, that it maintain and delusion, illusion, or reality therein prescribed convince the masses that the people in power know what they're doing and have their shit together. Now, the way that Biden's boat is leaking on every possible, where is he not leaky? I think he's leaky everywhere. His approach to politics is make Donald Trump look worse so they'll vote for me. I think. I'm not really sure, but that seems like what it is. And in that process, well, you don't have a whole lot of room for elevation moments, for moments to wow the voters, to actually convince someone, I wasn't sure who I was going to vote for, but that Biden thing yesterday where he was all lucid and talking about the economy in a way that made me feel confident that next year I might actually find a job. Well, I bought into that. So I think, if this sustains for another 6 months, I might even vote for the feller. I'm thinking about it. I'm just thinking about it now, But still got to find a fucking job. The reality of life for most of us is when you show us a jobs report that has 300,000 jobs added in the last quarter or last month, those are all part-time jobs. And what you're not showing are the 800,000 full-time jobs and the 1.2 million online work-from-home contract jobs that have now vanished to be replaced by 300,000 part-time jobs. You just say, and last month we added 300,000 jobs to the jobs report because we just said so. Don't look further. That's what we did. Now, let's go over here and we'll take a look at our defense budget. Oh, wait. No, we won't. We can't audit that. No one can even look at it. They've failed their audit every time we've tried. So they have that going for them. Oh, God, why am I going to pause on that? Because, damn it, that's true. That's fucking true. Okay. One of the conversations I was having out in public, and I have been outreaching into the public, and I've been making quite a social center of attention in the neighborhood as I had hoped to do. But as I get to know, say, 15 faces by name, and in that small contingent of people, start analyzing some of the issues of the day, well, one of the things that I've been asking is what is going most right currently? What is on the biggest upswing for the good of all of us right now? And honestly, the only answer that really fits the bill so far is marijuana, which I agree is pretty much the quintessential example of what an answer to that question should look like. Now, do you have another answer to that question? Because so far, not many people do. I heard a couple of podcasts. That's awfully self-indulgent. But no, I don't agree there because there's too much. It's already been. Well, the medium itself is perfect. The distribution and popularization of content material in outreach for masses to find good matches to material they would be enhanced by, I don't think exists, and I'm not sure how it will ever be developed without someone basically saying, yeah, here's the top 40 podcasts. Well, yeah, we have financial interest in 38 of them. And that shell corporation that you see on the last two, that's us too. But all I'm saying is, listen to these 40 podcasts so I can eat some Sara Lee cherry cheesecakes, please. Pause. Unpause. And that is not that might be a 70s treat. I don't really even know. Sara Lee? Who eats Sara Lee? Is that even a brand anymore? Probably not. Pause. Unpause. I forgot to finish my thought about bartenders' lack of conversational acumen. But many times now have I heard the bartenders repeat my back and forth with them to other customers. Now, this is not something of any observational value other than it's that vacuous out there. Really. Honestly. There is so little individual creative thought anymore. It scares the fuck out of me, man. Really, enough that I might have to take a shit. Wait. Actually might have to. Pause. Unhinged, unpaused. I figure if we're going to go all the way down elections are compromised road that we need to include my one, oh, please, 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 let me have this grain of truth be true. But I believe Hillary Clinton won the 2016 election in a landslide. Wasn't even close. Donald Trump got 20% of the vote. And yet, somehow, this was done to her as punishment. Now, the reason I bring this up is this little narrative string keeps reinforcing itself in some of my lucid dreams, whether in some sort of synchronous coincidental fashion or direct material fashion. I think Hillary Clinton might, well, how far do I want to push this little conspiracy? Well, it's not a little one, it's a big one. But if someone like Hillary Clinton got a little too much starch in her shorts and say was going to do something like kill Kurt Cobain like Courtney Love did, well then, some level of restriction, I believe, has the power to rein her in. And I believe did it in the year 2016 when they said, and your new United States president is Donald Julio Trump. Wait, what's the J stand for? Julio, yeah. Julio Trump. Bueno. Pues. Untethered. Unpause. What am I doing? Why am I Clinton-siding myself? I know better. Meaning all of what I just said, of course, was satire and meant to be nothing but poking fun at the clinical bear we know as the Clinton Foundation and all the children they stole from Haiti. I mean, wait, it was that redhead who stole it. What happened to that redhead? I know she changed her name and started working in Washington again. God, I love how people just go through the system, pretend nothing happened, and then take a new job 2 years from now and are like, hey, I haven't seen you in a while since Haiti. How? Oh, yeah. Haiti was a little bit of trouble for you, I remember now. Well, it's good to see you. I hope you're well. Yeah, no, honestly, that's the shit that goes on here. That's what America really is like. You fuck up. You get spectacled by some corporate news entity that has to put you on crossfire, and then 2 years later you're working for a new lobbyist firm on K Street wondering what to do about all these carbon credits that are just overflowing in terms of grifting revenue for you and your company. Well, kick back to the senator. Start playing Washington the right way and there's no limit. And when you think of a system that's as infected as ours, there is no limit. There is no limit to what compromises our government is experiencing in the name of someone's self-interest. No limit. Unforgivable on pause? No, this one's forgivable because, of course, when I say there's no limit, there's one limit. Israel. Whatever they say goes. In case you haven't noticed, whenever America became Israel's bitch, I do not know. But if we're going to judge the potential of our elections to be compromised by the behavior of the people performing in the elections as being suspect, well, when Israel tells America to fuck off and America says, okay, how did you want us to fuck off there, sir? Israel? Well, that does not portend well for anybody, especially white middle-class American dudes who are sitting in the bathroom wondering if they have to take a shit. Well, no more wondering that, huh? Pause. Oh, let's just stop it right here. We do not need to take this any further.